don't pay for the appraisal too soon. So here's what I mean by that, and here's why. So most loans will require appraisal. Yes, there are some loans that don't, and that's okay. But for the ones that do, which is the majority of them, you will be sent the way our process has typically worked for the last, I don't know, a long, long time at various companies. This is pretty typical. There may be a rare exception, but for us, you'll most likely get a link, an email from the appraisal management company. So it's not us, and a third party appraisal management company, AMC, will send you a link saying, time to pay for your appraisal. Here's my recommendation and my thoughts. If you're buying a home, right, for refinances, pay the thing as soon as you see that request. Let's get going. Don't hold this process up. Like, refinances are easy. Pay that appraisal quickly. This is for purchase applications. So in most purchase contracts, not all, but in most of them, there's going to be this option period. So let's take kind of the generic example, a 30-day closing from the day you execute the contract, 30 days later, you go to closing. Normally, there'll be about a 10-day option period, and that can vary. Depends on the house, depends on the market. But let's say it's 10 days during this option period where you can change your mind, back out, all this stuff, and not have your earnest money at risk. Well, during that time, typically people will get a home inspection. So you send out a third party to make sure it's all good. Maybe you get a foundation inspection. Maybe an HVAC guy comes out to inspect something else, the roofing guy, whatever. You get to go just decide if this is really the house you like, want to love, hold, cherish, etc. So when that home inspection comes back, it may say, hey, here's 5 or 6 things that you may want to address. So when you get the link from the appraisal management company, from the AMZ saying, hey, please pay for your appraisal, because we tell them like, hey, this borrower, this person's going to be buying this home. Let's get this going. They're going to just send you the link. They don't know anything else outside of, we just said, hey, you're buying the home, and it goes out. Do not, my recommendation, assuming a normal timeline. Now, if you're closing in like 7 days, talk to us. Let's figure it. That's a different strategy. But do it for a 30-day normal contract. I would suggest waiting until you're done negotiating any potential repairs or renegotiations that come along during the option period, maybe as a result of you've now inspected it and now the roof needs to be addressed, the foundation or whatever. Like, go through all those things first before you pay for the appraisal. Here's why. When you pay for the appraisal, it then triggers the AMC to do their job, and they then assign an appraiser to go do the work. Well, the appraiser will most likely need to get access to the home through like the MLS. And in doing that, it then notifies the listing agent or the sellers that the appraiser has been scheduled. They've gone out, they're doing these things, they've scheduled it, all that stuff. Well, think about this. If you're trying to negotiate an extra $3,000 because the roof just, could use a little love, or maybe, found something in the house that needs to be addressed. As soon as they know you've paid for the appraisal, they essentially know that you've sunk an extra, appraisal cost $600-800, whatever it is, sometimes even more. They know that you're about to pay more money to move forward on this house. So by doing that, you're almost indicating like, hey, I'm buying this house regardless of what happens with these negotiations. So my personal opinion, if you got time, and that's where please check with us, because timelines can vary. Sometimes appraisals come in 3 to 5 days. During really peak periods, like during COVID, it would take weeks to get this. So sometimes you don't have the luxury of waiting. But I would say talk to us, but just generically speaking, most of the time, I would just wait. The inspection usually happens on day 2 or day 3. You hopefully get those negotiations done by day 4 or 5, maybe day 6, and then get that appraisal paid for at that time. So that is my 2 cents. Please don't take this to mean it's like all that all the time, but I would say for the vast majority, that's what we're going to recommend. That's what we suggest. Certainly, if you have questions, please call us. We're happy to answer any questions you might have. And beyond that, just as always, when you think mortgage, think Mark.